شيماء بدينا.
Yes, Dino.
I think. Yeah.
Welcome.
Yes, so السلام عليكم. مرحبا بكم again في day 3 ديال AI and Data Conf by MTS. MTS هي Moroccan Data Scientist Community، أكبر community كاينة ديال Data Science وال AI in Morocco. So هاد رمضان درنا واحد special edition اللي سميناها رمضان edition، وكان 3 أيام. كان النهار الأول هو الخميس، هضرنا على data analytics and business intelligence. النهار الثاني هضرنا على machine learning and deep learning. والنهار الثالث اللي هو اليوم الختامي غادي نهضروا على ما هو تريندي، ما هو generative AI agents والfuture of tech. فوالا. ترحبوا بالضيوف ديالنا الكرام، سي علي، سي سفيان، سي عماد، سي المهدي، باش نديرو هاد التورك ان شاء الله ويدوز زوين بزاف. بصحة فطوركم. و عرفنا هاد 3 ايام دازت شي شويه شارجي، وكانت عامره بزاف بالمعرفه وبالعلم وبالو ساكريفيس. بالنسبه للناس اللي معنا تنشكركم انكم مهتمين بالداتا ساينس وانكم تدعموا لي زينيسياتيف اللي تنديروا. بالنسبه لو لايف نتمناو انكم تبارطاجيوه مع الاصدقاء ديالكم في لي جروب، تنتمنى. بالنسبه للفورمولير ديال دو بارتيسيباسيون بالنسبه لاتيستاسيون ان شاء الله توصلوا بها السيمانه الجايه ديال لي 3 جور. كما العاده لو بروغرام هو كالتالي. شيماء, can you talk if you want?
Hello guys again, it's Shima with you guys and دابا غنبريزونطاو ان شاء الله البروغرام ديال this evening. Again, welcome guys. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for being interested. Thank you for wanting to develop yourself and for wanting to learn more. ان شاء الله بوغ البروغرام ديال اليوم غنبداو نفتتحوا التاك الاول مع مسيو علي بوهوش. Monsieur Ali Bouhouch is a co-founder and chief technology officer at the Good Data Factory in USA. He's gonna talk to us about Agentic AI, hype or real, and it's gonna be an amazing talk, I'm sure. After that, we're gonna have Monsieur Al-Mahdi Al-Imani. Monsieur Al-Mahdi Al-Imani, he's an AI and ML engineer, generative AI automated agent specialist in France. He's gonna talk to us about autonomous AI agents. Can they think, plan, execute like a human? After that, we're gonna share with you the certificate survey as always, where you have to fill it, inshallah al-adim, but after that you're gonna receive your certificate of attendance. Next slide. The third speaker is gonna be Ahmed Zajari, voice agent unleashed, navigating the evolving landscape of conversation AI. Ahmed Zijari is an AI and ML engineer and entrepreneur at France. And our last speaker is going to be Tahimi.
I think that's it about the agenda. So خليو لي سلايد سال من بعد. So let's start with Monsieur Ali. ياك شيماء؟
Yeah, sure. Go ahead.
سي علي, مرحبا بك.
مرحبا بكم. Ramadan Mubarak. It's a pleasure to be with you all, and I'm grateful for this opportunity to share some thoughts. Alhamdulillah, today a lot of information actually is available online, but it's always good if we connect that information with real world experiences, and hopefully I'll share some of that with you in this talk. Shaima, if you can get my slides up. Okay, go to the next slide. Okay. So what am I gonna cover in this presentation? First, I'm somebody actually who's been working in this space since the early 90s. Just so you know, you're talking to a dinosaur. And because of that, I've done research, I've done academic work in this. And I like to always start with definitions so that we're all talking about the same thing first, right? Then the second thing, I'll give a brief historical context, just like I said, because I'm an older person, I have an affinity for history, and I believe history makes things clear in terms of how they've evolved. And in systems, you're not going to be able to have a good grasp of a system if you don't understand architecture. So I think it's good at least that we talk about a couple pointers on architecture. And I like to not leave you just with theory. So I'll talk a little bit about how do you get started to start playing with agents. And I really advise you to play. This is not, don't look at this, oh my God, this is complex technology. I need to learn so much stuff and maybe you don't have the technical baggage. Do not worry. Get in there, play, have fun, make mistakes. It doesn't matter. The important thing is you're going to enjoy yourself and you're going to learn in the process. And then I'll finish with two examples so it becomes a little bit more concrete. Next slide, please. All right. I want to start with the definition of the term agent before we get into AI agents. And generally speaking, we're talking here about agency as the relationship that organizes what's happening between a person that is called the agent, who has an expressed or implied authority in a specified scope to act autonomously on behalf of another person that we call normally the principal. Okay? So the examples I have here, I'll give you two examples that all of you have experienced. When I want to travel, okay, uh, especially before the internet, and in the internet, you're just using an internet agent. Because I don't have time to go and look for the best flight and all of that stuff, and then hotel accommodations and what have you, I look for a specialized travel agent who's going to get me the best flight, the best price, the best accommodations. And they have an authority from me to go look for these things and actually book them. And of course, I'll give them access to some type of payment method, credit card or something like that. But they represent me, they represent my interests, they act on my behalf, but within that limited scope of organizing my trip. Although they have access to my credit card, they cannot use it for anything except completing the task that was assigned to them. And same thing again for real estate agent. If I want to buy a house in a certain market here in Morocco, in Casablanca, for example, I don't know Casablanca very well, so I'll look for a real estate agent who knows the market and stuff, and then he's gonna represent me. He's gonna represent my interests. He's gonna act on my behalf and execute that task, which is finding me a house and making sure all the legal procedures and transactions are done so that I have a new house in Casablanca, right? So the reason I'm starting with this, because we have to understand this very simple concept before we move to software and AI, because the same concept moves with us to that, right? So if we move to the next slide, please. So now let's talk about what does an AI agent do, right? So an AI agent basically is a piece of software that has the ability to observe, and that observation, we'll talk about the different modalities you can do. It observes certain phenomena, for example, in interaction with the user, whether that interaction is by voice or by text or by other means. An AI agent could also be observing another system. Maybe it's observing an IoT device, it's getting signals from it, and then it needs to analyze the data it is observing and make some decisions, right? So, for example, I'm looking at a pressure sensor on a gas pipeline, and I have to make a decision as an agent that's responsible for the safety of this pipeline, whether the pressure is safe and therefore the flow of the gas should continue, or if it gets to a certain threshold, or I see a pattern that I've learned in the past that when you see this pattern of pressure changes, that means there is a risk of an explosion or a catastrophic event. Then I'm going to make a decision, and then it moves me to the next level, which is I have to be able to act. Because if I just observe and decide, but I cannot act, I'm a useless agent. My agency is limited and is not effective. For that agency to be complete and effective, I need to have the means of action. The least of it is I need to act in terms of at least notification. I need to notify another agent, and that other agent could be human, it could be a system, it could be a software system, it could be electronic system, mechanical system, it doesn't matter. But at least I need to notify another agent who's going to be able to do an action on my behalf. So you're starting to see that I'm building a hierarchy of agency here. And it doesn't stop there. Once an action is taken, I need to learn from that and see what happened. Was it effective? Did it work well? Is it does it achieve the desired outcome or not? And from that learning itself becomes part of the observation. And based on that, I may make certain decisions to change how I interact with the environment that I'm in. I can modulate the intensity, the frequency, the type of action I take, and so on and so forth. And this loop is critical for intelligent agents. Next slide, please. So when we get to AI agents, I looked, unfortunately, at this stage, this is still premature. So there is a lot of talk about AI agents. Different people mean different things with it. But I really find the definition that Anthropic, which is one of the companies that have produced an LLM, large language model, I like their definition because it really distinguishes between two things. The first one is agentic workflows, which are basically systems where a large language model and tools are orchestrated through a predefined code path. And that's the key sentence here. So if you're using LLMs and you're using tools and you're doing some orchestration, but it's predefined in a code path, then that's what we call an agentic workflow. And that's actually what the majority of people are doing today. The second level is when you're talking about actual agents, on the other hand, they're systems where LLMs are dynamically directing their own processes and tools, okay? They maintain control over the decisions they make until they accomplish the task. And very few people are actually working on this type of agents. Why? Because that coordination of independent autonomous agents like this is very complex. It's not as simple and straightforward. So even my recommendation to you guys is you want to get into this space, start with agentic workflows, get familiar with the capabilities of LLMs and tools and how LLMs invoke tools, and then you're going to have basically an idea of how you can manage a single agent. Then you get to the complexity of having two agents, and then you may think about a master-slave relationship between these agents. You may think about peer-to-peer, and then you get to a third agent, and suddenly now you're talking about hierarchy, and you can get more and more complex in the architecture. Next slide, please. So most people with AI, they're doing one of these three things. The majority of the work that's been done on with AI up until today is mostly automation, intelligent automation. Yes, okay. So you're looking at things like you're using basic logic, right? The example we have here is if I have an AI system that sends a Slack notification every time a new lead signs up to our website. Let's say we have an e-commerce website, and when a lead signs up, a notification goes to Slack, right? That's a simple automation. Now, if you go to the next level, which is agentic workflows, let's say, for example, we have a system that analyzes, scores, and routes every website inbound lead using, for example, ChatGPT, right? So here, there is a flow that is automated. Yes, it's predefined, but it's a whole flow that we've automated in this case. And finally, when we're talking about an AI agent, an autonomous AI agent, we're talking about, for example, performing a full internet search on every inbound lead that we get and update the information. Okay? So there is a lot of actions that you do here. You're using a tool like internet search. You're going to decide what kind of search you do, what information you collect, right? And all of those is what defines the autonomy for you. Next slide, please. So if we look at the history of agents, most people thought that intelligent agents, AI agents, is something that just showed up towards the beginning of 2024, and everybody's calling 2025 the year of agentic AI. But the reality, people have been working on intelligent software since the early 1950s. Okay, of course, those early attempts were mostly rule-based, right? People built expert systems based on knowledge systems, based on rules, and of course, they have limitations. We get to the 1990s is when we had the hype of intelligent agents, where people start talking about the possibility of having software modules that are independently making decisions. But I underscore here hype because that's what it was. People talked about a lot, promised a lot, but delivered very little. Okay. And then in the 2010s, voice-based virtual assistants came up. As a matter of fact, since 2014, I've been working on agents for what is called conversational commerce that could actually help somebody who's trying to buy online through a conversation with a chatbot, and helping them navigate through a catalog of product, what they need, making recommendations to them in terms of what would go nice with the item they've selected, and so on and so forth. So, and that's actually something that a lot of people have done. And then we get to the end of 2024, and now in 2025, we're starting to actually look at simple autonomous agents. And really, if you think about these agents, what drove them in terms of practice is people who did autonomous vehicles. Everybody was doing autonomous vehicles, not just cars, but autonomous trains, and now what's the rage is autonomous drones. Drones have had significant changes in the last 5 years, and they're going to have significant impact in the future. And of course, everybody's anticipating that in the next 5 years, we're going to have fully autonomous agents, which is something that's exciting and scary at the same time. Next slide, please. Can we move to the next slide? Thank you. So what I want you to understand is that there is a progression from just some basic AI. I don't care whether it's a large language model or some small model, whether it's just a predictive model. It has enough intelligence, but what gets it to the level of agency is this whole hierarchy where you build on the linguistic capabilities of large language models. You enrich that with context and understanding, and then you start to do conditional data generation, which means you generate data that is conditioned by your understanding of what the ask is and enriching it with the context, right? And then you get creative and novelty. That's basically what people call hallucinations. You wouldn't be able to have creativity and novelty without hallucinations, which means that every generation is not necessarily guaranteed to be a certain way. There is some level of variability and unpredictability, which is the seed for creativity and novelty. And then, of course, then you get to GenAI applications. And now we're getting really the biggest thing that a lot of people working in this area are now trying to figure out is how do we address the reasoning and problem solving capabilities of these agents. And I'm not just talking about basic logical reasoning that you can get from linguistic intelligence. I'm talking about advanced reasoning, like spatial reasoning, understanding a situation that somebody describes and understanding that it exists in a physical world and understanding the physics of that world, the relationships between these objects, what's possible, what's not just from the narrative of the text that you've received, but from the reality of knowing that if I let go of a glass, it will fall. If it falls on a hard surface, it will break. Nobody has to tell me that because I've experienced it by living in a physical world, and suddenly now it becomes part of my knowledge. And then we get to what we're working with now, which is agentic workflows, and hopefully in the next 5 years get to a fully autonomous AI agents. Next slide, please. I'll briefly just talk about some of the emerging agent architectures. You'll see that we're starting to have a whole class of large language models that are specialized in tool using, in invocation of APIs so that they can actually drive action. And some of these LLMs actually have been trained, tuned, and optimized for having this bias towards action, and they're called large action models. We're also seeing a lot of orchestration leveraging large and small language models. So orchestration becomes also a key architectural component of having a fully functional agent. For agents that need to interact with the physical world, of course, then vision-enabled large language models for digital exploration. They usually come with some ability to create a digital twin of the environment they're trying to navigate so that they can accurately represent it. We're seeing a lot of agentic applications for discovery within a digital environment or a digital twin. Of course, function calling, API invocation with structured output is something that's a prerequisite. And of course, having tools, whether these tools are a search engine, access to a knowledge base, whether it's relational or non-relational, or invoking an API of another system that can do a whole function. That's very important. And what we're starting to see also is that for agency, for if you remember that definition at the beginning that I started with, if I want that travel agent to not exceed their limits and abuse, for example, my credit card, there has to be rules, policies, even laws that make sure that me as a human, in this case, because the agent is a machine, that I'm still able to be there as the principle that defines the scope of action for this AI. Next slide, please. So, interesting stuff, exciting stuff, a ton of information out there on the internet. Where in the world do I get started? I didn't produce, by the way, this slide, but I think it's extremely useful. It's the best I find out there. That's why I'm sharing it with you guys. But what it says basically is, before you get started on this, decide first, answer the key questions that we have here. What type of agent application do I want to, or do I need? Do I want to build, or do I need? Right? So if I'm looking at something that's complex and multi-step workflows, we have a decision flow to make in terms of what tools I can start with, things like LangGraph. I'm sure if you played with LLMs and RAG, most of you have some exposure to LangChain. LangGraph is just another iteration of that tool, or platform, or framework, if you will. If I'm just doing simple sequential tasks, I can use solutions from Microsoft. I can use LangGraph. I can use Crew AI. There's plenty of tools you can, again, you can play with. Don't try to become an expert in one tool first. Explore first, play, discover, and then you can decide what tool works best for you. The minute you get into collaborative multi-agent tasks, that's a lot more complex. It needs a lot more thought process, a lot more design. And then you go into tools like GenAI, you go into Swarm, things like that. And if the task that you're doing is mostly automation focused, then you've got things like the agent framework, PhiData, and AutoGenAI. So again, use this as basically a roadmap, depending on what your interests there, so you know where to start. Remember, again, this is just the starting point, not the ending point. Next slide, please. So I want to give a couple examples here of how you use some of these agentic frameworks. So for example, you can use OpenAI's operator to build your own multi-agent system, right? And the workflow involves the four distinct stages that we spoke about at the very beginning, right? The agent first captures real-time screenshots of the active browser window you want to work with. It uses the vision model, so it identifies clickable items, text fields, and menus, and so on and so forth. Then it takes action, right? So basically, what you can do is, let's say, for example, you have a repetitive task for some web form, and you're going to do it hundreds of thousands of times. No human being needs to be exposed to that torture. You could use, actually, you can create with OpenAI operator, you can create an agent system that actually will do that, will invoke the right tools, and then eventually even simulate mouse clicks and keyboard strokes so that it can get the job done. I like this. It's simple, it's contained, you play with it, then you can start doing small variations of it as you learn. The second example I want to share with, as I'm starting to run out of time. Next slide, please. This one is a little bit more involved. This is a framework from a company called AI Explain. It's I know the CEO of this company. They've created a fantastic framework, and what they've done in this example is to combine voice-based task extraction and then using agents within their framework that you can customize. You can also you can invoke Google Sheets to integrate tasks and schedule things. You can use, for example, here, they've used Amazon AWS S3 for audio file storage and so on and so forth. And then they've done something that I really like. They've integrated a tool that most of us use, like WhatsApp, right? And then they've integrated that with an enterprise scale tool like Twilio. But by the way, you don't need to use Twilio. They have actually suggestions of open source alternatives from Google and other providers. But with that, you could start actually seeing what some real world applications of this agentic AI is. So it's not just some academic exercise. This is going to transform how we build software solutions in the future. By the way, the CEO of Microsoft, Satya Nadella, has said that AI agents are going to kill the SaaS model, which is software as a service, and it's going to move to software as a set of agents. That's pretty much what I have. I'll stop right here, and I guess we've got a few minutes for me to take questions. Any questions?
So Ayub asking what benefits could reinforcement learning offers AI agents, taking into consideration the large impact it gives the latest LLMs such as GPT-o1 and DeepSeek-R1, known as reasoning models. Yeah, please, Mike.
So the benefit of agents is it gives us a new architecture of how we can build
No,
complex systems from
Al,
smaller
operators
modular
learn.
ones.
Please, Mr. Ali, go ahead. We weren't able to hear you.
Right. And reinforcement learning creates a fantastic opportunity for these agents to start learning from the interactions they have with the environment, whether interactions with human users or interactions with other systems, or for agents that have what we call embodied intelligence, as in they have a physical body that they interact with. So, for example, think about a robot that has a camera and has other sensors, right? All of this becomes input where we could use reinforcement learning so that it can learn from experiences, including errors, mistakes that it make, and you can use reinforcement learning as to close the loop and bring that learning into improving its future behavior.
Thank you, Mr. Ali. I guess we have to pass the next question. Again, thank you so much. It was very insightful. Thank you for accepting our invitation. And inshallah, sure, in the next talks, you're going to be with us. And I hope you're going to accept our invitation again in the next events.
With pleasure, absolutely.
Thank you so much. So next is going to be with us Ahmed. Ahmed? Welcome, Imad. Should you introduce yourself or should I? Please go ahead.
Do you hear me? Hello, do you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you
Yes.
perfectly.
Okay. So I'm Imad Ezejari. I'm an AI and ML engineer. I'm also an entrepreneur. I'm living in France. And today, but before I hope Ramadan Mubarak for everyone. And I also want to take the opportunity to thank Moroccan data scientists community for organizing this event. It's a great opportunity to share. With the Moroccans, share what we can do with data science, with agents, and with data in general. So, inshallah, نبداو. This presentation will be about the voice agent. Unleashed. We will cover the evolving landscape of conversational AI, and if you use like ChatGPT voice mode or Gemini Live Assistant, you are already using a voice agent, and you don't know that. Let's say we will start with introducing the voice agent, and we will deep dive with how we can design this voice agent. We will speak then about the current landscape, about what is the state of the art, let's say, for voice agents. We will talk a little bit about some key factors for creating some real-time technologies, and then we will speak about challenges you need to see and to pay attention to when developing your own voice agents. And then at the end, we will cover some use case applications. So let's start with the introduction. As you know, there is a lot of sophisticated AI-driven assistants that can interact with user to natural text. But in fact, voice agents, by definition, is an AI-driven assistant that can interact with the users through voice. It's not like some old let's say agents that hear some commands and execute some tasks. It's in fact adapts dynamically to the user inputs and context, and then it will answer you in the real time and providing meaningful interaction with the user. As you know, this market is new and is currently evolving a lot. So in fact, here I'm showing the mean annual growth rate of an investment over a period longer than 1 year. So as you can see, the market size is projected to be like 47 billion by 2034, and the numbers are projected to be growing the next years. Now we will start. I mean, how you can build your own voice agent. We will talk now about the design of designing some voice agents. Let's start with the simple architecture. Let's say when you want to start. So in fact, this architecture will take the user, let's say, speech. We'll transform it using some models of speech to text, and then we'll pass this to a natural language, an LLM, that will answer what the user is asking and extract meaning and content from what the user says, and generates appropriate response that it will be then converted back to a speech to text, a text to speech, and then streamed back to the user. So in Arabic, I guess. So in fact, user كيقول شي جمله ولا شي in fact شي request، و this request كتمشي ال LLM اللي كيجاوب على هاد الريكويست هذه like any LLM، يعني اي large language model، and then we take this and we will stream it back to the user. يعني كناخذوا هاد لا ريبونس ديال LLM ومن بعد كنعطيوها لليوزر using speech using text to speech model. Yeah. So what is the difference between text-based agents and voice-based agents? So like text-based agents بحال LLM اللي كتعرفوا ChatGPT etc. Claude etc. و voice-based agents en fait c'est بحال des agents vocaux اللي we gonna see some examples at the end. So in fact, the difference is that بالنسبة ل text-based agents كياخد let's say the inputs, you type the inputs, but voice agents you don't type. In fact, you only do this in real time using voice. So in fact, it is natural, like you are speaking with another human, and that's the real difference, let's say. And also in the architecture here, you can see that the user first starts with his voice, then we go to the speech to text part. يعني نمشيو البارت اللي كتاخذ الصوت ديال اليوزر وترجعوا text, and then we do like the same stuff like text agent, and then we take the response from the LLM and then we convert it to a speech. Now we're gonna move to the key components if you want to build a really good voice agent, let's say. So in fact, building some, let's say some. I was seeing the presentation before. In fact, they talk about really some agents that do stuff. I mean, that's act. So in fact, if you want to do this, you need to take into consideration a lot of parts. يعني تاخذ بعين الاعتبار بزاف ديال les parties. First, multi-language support. In fact, your agent should support not only English but also other languages like Spanish, Arabic, and everything. So يتكلم بdifferent languages. Also, he may answer about informations that you have in your database, like here knowledge base creation. So in fact, if you have some, let's say some documents, and you want your agent to answer about these documents, you need to use knowledge base graph with or RAG with your agents. These agents can also do some. You can also add this with some tools. Let's say. Like for example, if you want your agent to do actions on a CRM, let's say for example, بغيتي الاجون ديالك en fait تقول له يدير شي تاسك ويمشي مثلا يعمر des informations dans un CRM, ولا بغيتي par exemple il t'envoie un mail, يعني يصيفط واحد الايميل كل نهار ولا منين تدوي معاه وتسالي conversation يصيفط واحد الايميل. So these are examples of tools. Here and pointing is what does it mean? In fact, is when the agent needs to know when you finish speaking. So the AI will know when you finish speaking, and then we start him speaking. So in fact, when ملي كتدوي مع شي اجون فوكال خصك تعرفوا خصو هو يعرفك en fait فوقاش انت ساليتي وفوقاش باغي يدوي. Donc to do this, we use generally the voice activity detection. Like this is I say the very known and the easiest one. And this I mean, using voice activity detection, you can determine when the user is speaking. There are also some other technologies, let's say, that in fact inherently know when the user speaks his sentence and starts speaking. But these technologies are trained on a lot of data. We will speak about this in a second, I guess. Then interruption handling. In fact, when you speak with an agent, you are not speaking the whole time. I mean, you at some point you are stopping, so you are in interruption. So the agent needs to. I mean, you need to handle when building your agent. This. I mean, you need to take it into consideration. Also, background noise management. When in fact you are in a space like I don't know, you are in a coffee انت في شي قهوه etc. وبغيتي تدوي مع مثلا شات جي بي تي فويس مود ولا n'importe quel autre agent, you need to your agent need to handle also the noise. In fact, technologies will filter out the noise and keep only the best parts. I mean the good parts of what you are asking, of what the user is asking to this agent. And then back channeling refers to the subtle verbal. I mean, when you are speaking, the agents will say, I understand, I see, please continue. So in fact, like you feel you are in a conversation. So now we will deep dive into the current landscape of conversational AI. شنو كنعنيو من هادشي. In fact, هو زعما شنو واقع يعني maintenant في tout ce qui est AI voice. So هنا this slide I will show let's say the history from the appearance of OpenAI voice mode until December 2024. In fact, ces agents, هاد les agents vocaux كانوا قبل من ماي 2024, let's say, and then when the hype, got the hype of voice agents got, let's say, very known to the public, it was with the ChatGPT voice mod, let's say. That was the biggest news in May 2024. Then also in June 2024, Character is a company that do agents that you can speak to. Let's say you want to speak to some random personalities, some famous personalities. So this was a company that do that. They raised 3 million. They have 3 million users, generating 20 million calls in just their beta test. So it was amazing at that time. Also, Apple announced that they will integrate ChatGPT into Siri. You know Siri already, so it is the let's say the voice mod that is in your iPhone. So they announced that they will integrate ChatGPT. Let's say they will give more capabilities to Siri. Then in July, OpenAI roll out the advanced voice mode, let's say. And then in August, Amazon integrates Claude into Alexa. So Alexa is a sort of voice agent, let's say, because it executes some tasks. So in fact, you speak with her, you speak with Alexa into voice. كتدوي مع Alexa. اللي ما كيعرفش Alexa en fait c'est le device اللي كيكون مثلا بغيتي تطفي الضوء في يعني في الروم ديالك ولا شي حاجه بحال هكا كيدير دي زاكسيون كوم سا. Then also so it was in August they integrate Claude. Then in September, Notebook LLM كيعرفوش c'est en fait une application qui génère des podcasts. It goes viral into September. It's also use voice. It's not. We can't say it's a voice agent, but yeah. Then there are also Play HT, which is a company into speech, into voice also. October, same. We got a news from Qt AI. Qt AI is a company in France. They released Mushi. Mushi is the first agent that it is trained. The first voice agent that is trained on synthetic data, voice to voice. They use a lot of synthetic generated voice data. In fact, they recorded a lot of conversations. They generated a lot of conversations, and then they trained on that. So yeah. Then November, LR Labs released the conversational AI, the platform when you can build your own voice agents. December, ChatGPT Advanced Voice Mode. It gets internet search. So internet search is a tool that is now incorporated into ChatGPT Voice Mode. So if you ask about news of today, he will use this tool to give you the news of today. مثلا شنو واقع اليوم يمشي يقلب في انترنت ويعطيك لا ريبونس. Yeah. So that was the AI advance in 2024. Then what's new in 2025? I was saying, like Qt AI did. In fact, we will move on from the let's say the easiest part of text to speech, LLM speech to text, to in fact voice to voice model. So in fact, we will train the model on voice to voice data, and then we will have not only to handle the whole workflow of 3 parts, but now we will have a model that is already trained into conversations and into voice. So in fact شنو يولي نيو هو يكون عندنا واحد الموديل اللي ديجا اونتريني على لي كونفرساسيون ولا جينيري دي كونفرساسيون سينثيتيك يعني كونفرساسيون qui sont pas réelles وهذا هو الفيوتشر let's say. Now we will move to some components of real-time communication technologies. We have voice over internet protocol. This protocol it helps transmit voice over the internet. It is the protocol that is used by customer service. Customer service call center. This protocol, he managed to call setup and media delivery. And let's say there are some key protocols. In fact, when you want to use VoIP. Next slide. So SIP is the protocol that is responsible for managing call setup and termination. So in fact, if you want to call someone to the internet, this is the protocol you need to use, let's say. So it's session initial protocol. Then RTP is the real-time transport protocol. And then it's the one responsible for delivering the actual audio and video streams. SDP is the session description protocol, is the one responsible for negotiating media formats during the call. The next one is WebRTC. This is also an important, let's say, protocol to know. when you want to build your own voice agents. This one, it allows you to do peer-to-peer multimedia communication in web browser. So in fact, this protocol allows you to call a voice agent when you are into your browser. So imagine عندك واحد لابليكاسيون اللي بغيتي ديرها في الويب، يعني ويب اب، وبغيتي ان فيت تكون عندك واحد الفويس ايجنت، واحد لاجون فوكال اللي في هاد لابليكاسيون ديالك، خصك تخدم الويب ار تي تي. Let's say, I mean, this is the very known protocol, so it's the one responsible for doing this into web browser. It's also allow developers to implement voice, video, and data with minimal code, so it's easy to integrate, let's say, and it's enable browser-based communication, like I said. Yeah. So now we will move on to this conversational speech model. I added a logo here about Sesam. So if you already know about Sesam, Sesam is a company that's released an agent that I mean, it's an emotional agent between brackets, let's say. It's an agent that can understand what you are feeling, and can, when they answer, they will show a sort of let's say of enthusiasm or a sort of sentiment, let's say. They introduced a conversational speech model, which is a model open source that's fundamentally it's an AI that thinks as it speaks. So it will handle micro pause, tone shift, and emotional response, and it will in fact give you an authentic conversation. So in fact, it will feel remarkably authentic, like when you are speaking with someone in a conversation. They got let's say مثلا تكدوي مع شي واحد، وان فيت ملي كتكون شي جمله انتريستين يعني لا ريبونس سا ديفير ان فيت. مثلا this is great. I mean, it should not be an AI, let's say, voice, but it should show some enthusiasm into something. I mean, some sentiment. So that's how this, I mean, this protocol allows this to do, and Sesam introduced it like a few weeks ago. For the challenges, if you are building your own agents, you need voice agents. You need to keep in mind these challenges. You need to keep in mind a low latency. So latency is the response time when you speak, the agents will answer. So this is latency. You need to keep it very low. You need also to pay attention to the accents of the ones that are speaking. I mean, the users. يعني خصك تعرف يعني تخدم مع كاع لي زاكسون. مثلا اكسون ديال شي واحد سيريان ولا شي واحد I don't know Egyptian. So you need to pay attention to this action, to these accents. Sorry. And then also you need to pay attention to privacy, because in fact you are using voice. So in fact خصك privacy, pay attention to that. And then also you need to be scalable. So in fact, if your agent was used by one person, يعني كان الاجون ديالك كيخدموا une personne، خصو aussi يخدم الا كانوا 10 لي بيرسون كيخدموا en même temps. donc خصو يكون scalable. And then you need, as I was saying, handle also background noise. So إلا كنتي في شي قهوة etc ولا في شي salle de music, I mean, your agents need to answer you. And I mean, you can do this experience, use ChatGPT voice mode into I mean, you go to a coffee or something noisy, you can start and use ChatGPT voice mode and see if he answers or not. And yeah, there are also other challenges that you need to pay attention to. Now I will talk about the use case applications. So in fact, this field is new. I mean, the applications that we are seeing now, we are seeing some interesting applications. يعني كنشوفوا des applications اللي مزيانين دابا في market, let's say, like the customer service support. In fact, I don't know, but مثلا انا جاوني دي كول من AI. En fait, AI اللي كيعيط وكي كيسولك على des questions etc. parce que en fait j'utilise déjà du coup le voice agents, donc كنعرفوا AI, mais en fait it sounds sometimes it sounds like real. And then also ملي كيكون عندك شي question وبغيت تعيط مثلا call center, there are some call centers now that use AI customer support to answer your questions. يعني كيخدموا الفويس agents باش يجاوبوا على les questions ديالك selon يعني la documentation ولا يعني ولا autre chose. Also, yeah, the agents, these voice agents also are incorporated into IoT and smart home. Let's say Alexa is an example. Also, كاين des robots maintenant اللي en fait كتقول لهم مثلا يديروا des actions. I don't know, to turn off the lights or go. I mean, I don't know, go cook something. So كاين دي روبو اللي كيديروا زعما avec la parole يعني بالهضره كيقدروا يديروا des actions. And yeah, there are also these voice agents also can help you practice pronunciation with instant feedback. So in fact, let's say you want to, I don't know, you want to practice to learn English. So you can build a voice agent that do that. I mean, بغيتي تتعلم الانجلي ولا بغيتي تتعلم how to speak Spanish يعني كيفاش تدوي بالاسبانيوليه مزيان. كاين دي voice agent اللي يعاونوك en fait because they take time to they pay attention to your tone, to what you are saying. I mean, if you are saying the words correctly, and that's it. So this is also an example. And yeah, there's also this example of agents, voice agents in healthcare. En fait, d'abord, this company is called Lambda, for example, who do this. It will capture the conversations and field administrative staff for doctors. In fact, ملي كيمشي عند شي طبيب لا كونفرساسيون ديالك معاه كتريكوردا وكترانسكرايبا يعني transcribe it will go to from speech to text and then it will fill automatically the documents like automatically. I mean he will كيكون كيسمع الكونفرساسيون ديالكم كيعمل مثلا الدوكيومون ادمنستراتيف اللي خصك دير. There are also some other applications that I did not mention, like for example translation into real time. So in fact كيكون عندك مثلا شي كول وانت كدوي مثلا بالانجلي والاذر بيرسون كيدوي بالانجلي كيدوي مثلا فرونسي I mean he get the translation in real time. I mean انت كدوي بالانجلي وهو كيوصل بالفرونسي وهو كيدوي بالفرونسي انت كتوصلك بالانجلي etc. in real time, and voice agents can do that. Also you can there is also applications for voice agents into let's say retail for illicit e-commerce etc. Yeah, so it's exciting. I mean voice agents are an exciting field, to be honest, and I mean it's an exciting field also to work on. And yeah, we're gonna do a quick conclusion, let's say, about this. So let's say conversational agents is evolving rapidly, and as we saw, the market it grows exponentially, and because they offer dynamic and authentic real-time interactions. So also they are impacting the diverse sectors we saw, like healthcare, IoT, customer service, and education and retail. And we have seen that like from the analysis, the projection of some analysis, that it will be a 47 billion let's say market by 2034. And also there are some challenges, let's say, that we need to pay attention to, and continuous innovation is paying also attention to. And when I say voice agents is evolving, we can go les agents vocaux qui هادشي كيتبدل constamment, let's say, like LLMs. I mean like what is happening in LLMs and other fields. Like in 2 days ago, OpenAI released some let's say state-of-the-art speech-to-text models and text-to-speech models, and they integrated their agents into the Agent SDK platform. So in fact, everyone is let's say going into this market. يعني les acteurs principaux اللي كاينين في هذا الدومين ديال الاي اي كيتانتريساو السبيتش تو تكست تو سبيتش. and yeah, OpenAI, Gemini, yeah, 11 Labs, DeepCam, a lot of big actors are really I mean investing a lot into building their own voice agents. So it was a pleasure to do this talk with you, and I want to thank the Mercant Data Sciences community for inviting me to do this talk. And yeah, this is my LinkedIn. If you have questions, or if you want to connect with me, feel free, and I will be happy to talk about what you are doing, what you are building. And thank you, guys.
Choisir le modèle adéquat d'agent vocal pour chaque tâche.
بغيتي تشيكي واش تسمعني مزيان ولا عندي الصداع؟
Can you hear me, Simon?
Yeah. So the question is comment choisir le modèle adéquat d'un agent vocal pour chaque tâche. in fact ما كاينش ان موديل اديكوا on va dire mais كاين différents plateformes let's say like if you want اللي عندك شي تاسك ديال شي حاجه كاين بزاف لي بلاتفورم اللي كيخليوك تبولدي زعما ton agent vocal let's say facilement en fait it depends like if you want الا بغيتي شي حاجه really fast into go to production you can use some no code platform like Vapi or other or Blend or other platforms but if you want to build يعني بغيتي تخدم شي حاجه اللي really strong you need to pay attention to your own infrastructure يعني خصك يعني انت دير يعني دير ton propre infrastructure let's say and then pour les tâches yeah I mean you build a simple voice agents then ومن بعد كتعطيه لي تاش اللي انت بغيتي donc en fait je pense l'agent vocal il est indépendant de tâches on va dire mais il est plutôt dépendant de on va dire l'architecture et l'infrastructure.
Okay, thank you so much, Monsieur Ahmed, again for being with us. Thank you for accepting our invitation. كيف ما كنقولوا ديما الله يجعل لكم في ميزان حسناتكم. Especially it's Ramadan وما كاينش الوقت بزاف الحمد لله we were able to share with the people some knowledge. So now guys, we're gonna share with you the survey. Please fill it to receive the certificate of attendance. Scan the code or just enter this link. Please guys, can you share the link in the chat? Thank you. هاد الفورم فيها some questions you have to answer them because
ما خدامش شيماء تسمعيني؟
yeah.
ما خدامش شي واحد يصيفط لنا نو ديليتيت ويت you don't have in my PC تسمعني مزيان؟ اوكي دونك هاد تسمعني مزيان الو تيست اوكي ثانك يو I think غنخليوه ندوزو the next speaker اللي هو السي المهدي معنا are you with us?
Yes.
Go ahead bro بيد ما نقادو الفورم الاكسس باش نشرح لهم هاد لو بوين سلام مهدي صافا
صافا الحمد لله الله يعطيك الصحه الله يحفظك كنت مزيان هاني
صافا
الحمد لله
باش نشرحوا للدراري بعجاله تنديروا حنا واحد السيرفي بيكو عندنا دابا 3 دي ديال لي توكس بدينا في الاولاني على داتا اناليتيكس اند بي اي النهار الثاني درنا ماشين ليرنين اند ديب ليرنين النهار الثالث اللي هو دابا اللي هو الاخر نهضروا على جينيراتيف اي اي اند اي اي ايجنتس كل نهار تندير واحد السيرفي تنشوف الشات يقولوا وي دونت هاف اكسس مازال ما لحناه لكمش مور تشورك ديال السي مهدي غادي نلوحوا لكم ان شاء الله الفورم داكور يتبعوا مع السي مهدي وديك لو فورمولير ملي تتساليوه تلقاو الايميل ديالكم ديك الايميل ديالكم هو باش غادي نصيفط لكم حنا السيرتيفيكيت وباش تكونوا ابديتد ويز اس دخلوا في لو جروب واتساب ديالنا احنا غنصيفطوا لكم مازال السي ابراهيم مازال ما لحنا لكمش لو فورمولير مازال دونك غادي نلوحوا لكم لو جروب واتساب ديالنا باش تدخلوا معنا وباش اي حاجه جديده اباوت سيرتيفيكيت فين غادي تقدروا تجينيريوها اكسيتيرا غادي تهضر بقاو معنا هذا نص ساعه ان شاء الله وغادي نلوح لكم لو فورمولير ديال السيرفي اللي او ميم طون ملي تساليوه زعما هو داك باش تفاليديو لا بريزونس ديالكم ودرناه بالعاني شو فورم ديال السيرفي باش نكوليكتيو سام داتا about the stage of generative AI in Morocco غنسولكم بعض الاسئله اللي غتكون شويه تكنيك وغادي نعرفوا ابروبو الاودينس ديالنا كل واحد شنو تيستعمل سو ثانك يو نخلي مهدي يبارطاجي ليكرون ديالو جو هايد خاي مهدي جود لاك
thank you very much. Thank you for the warm introduction. Assalamu alaikum and good evening, everyone. Guys, you see the screen?
يس مهدي، تنشوفوا السكرين. تقدر تبريزونتي الفوق ادغوات بريزنت.
Okay.
ياك ما فيك القلعه با مهدي.
دابا كتبان لك السكرين ياك؟
لا مازال بلاتي. تسمعني مزيان مهدي؟
وي، حيت راه كليكيت زعما باش تبارطاجي.
لا ما طلعش عندنا في الداشبورد، ما طلعش عندنا. جاست جايز رحنا صلحنا الفورمولير. شيماء
let's share the survey right now.
Yeah.
بما مهدي was able
اوكي صافي راه اوكي I think
واحد 5 مينوت.
اوكي
ها هو اللين عمروه عافاكم. واحد 5 مينوت باش يعرفوا باش اللي عنده شي. Yeah, that's it. That's the short link. I think اللي غيكون عندكم كليكابل. D'accord. So just wait, please. هذا السيرفي ديال ديتري. انا مبارطاجي ليكرون ديالي باش نشوفوه. اوكي. ندوزو فيت في الايميل ديالكم. C'est juste pour valider votre présence. Donc, il a marché, c'est simple. Mais on n'a pas fait survey aujourd'hui. On a fait juste un formulaire pour valider la présence d'Alcom. That's it. So thank you. You can go ahead.
انا نعطيك لاكسي للبريزونطاسيون. اوكي
علاش ما بغاتش؟
ما بغاش كل مره كنكليكي على هادشي يعطيني يبقى يطلب لي ريكويست. جو بونس
Okay, send it to me and until.
اوكي صيفط لي الميل ديالك.
عندك واتساب؟
وي راح ليا
صافي صيفطوا لي سي واتساب.
شوف صيفط لي غير الميل ديالك باش نزيدك بزربه، فهمتي؟
Alright, check le chat privé.
اوكي
وصيفط لي اللينك ديال كانفا.
وي راه وصلني صافي.
صيفط لي اللينك بليز باش ندخل فيت فيك.
واخا
يا
Guys, if you can please from this one also, it's a survey. If you are kind with us to play هاد الفورم
شيماء
survey
دابا دابا واش هذا شي واحد جديد؟
إنه في هذا هو ولكن عندي الإيميل ديالو. Donc please guys, as Baha said, we're doing a state of AI, trying to get
اكسس بروبليم داكسي
okay.
شيماء سل من بعد بليز سو
صافي راه
Guys.
زدتك، انا صيفط لك دابا اللينك.
ثانك يو
وي
اون فريمون ديزولي الشباب على هاد الغلط التقني
وي سمحوا لينا على
سو باش ديجا ريبون يا سو هذا اللي صيفطنا لكم الفوق هو هذا اللي تعمروا الناس اللي بغاو حتى لافان ويعمروا معنا السيرفي بيضمن يحلوا المشكل ديالو سا سرا سوبر ذاتس ات بيضمن ان نوجد السلايد ديال مهدي شيماء if you can talk to explain stage of AI go ahead مهدي صيفط لي عافاك واش تبقي بفوت
So state of AI is an initiative that we're trying to do as it indicates the name يعني each country ولا company ولا je sais pas environnement بعض المرات كدير state of AI to know the actual state اللي كاينه واحد العام معين واحد l'année précise ديال AI. So this is what we're trying to do. We're trying to يعني share with you some forms that you can fill it so we can inshallah release inshallah after 2 months or so.
Thank you very much شيماء just باقي تنسى مهدي صيفط ليا مازال ما صيفط ليا والو مهدي are you with us مهدي مشى اوكي je pense connexion il a un problème de connexion I think ندوزو لسفيان بيد ما مهدي رجع what do you think شيماء
Yes. Yeah. Let's go with Sufyan.
Yana are you with us bro
Yes, لا. Okay.
السلام عليكم
So Sufyan, please present yourself first باش يعرفوك الناس. سفيان كان ضحكوا معاه كنقولوا ليه اللي عايش معنا في السيليكون فالي ديال المغرب. Exactly.
سفيان ديالنا لقى التوأم ديالو ماشي التوأم في الوجه مي التوأم في السميه
السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. أنا سفيان ضحي. كتسمعني بعدا؟
ويت سفيان مهدي
وي راه صيفط لك اللينك.
يدوز سفيان بيضمن نقدو هذا المشكل ça marche
اوكي
thank you peace go ahead
السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. أنا سفيان ضحيمي, Solutions Architect at Alpha 10X. So yeah, very happy to be with you guys. كنشكر Moroccan data scientists for the invitation. It's a pleasure. So yeah, looking forward to get started. واش ممكن دابا نبارطاجي l'écran ديالي؟
Yes, sure.
yes go ahead
Okay. Upload. Just a second.
مهدي عطيني اوسي بداك الجيميل صيفطو بالشات thank you
Just 1 second. Okay, let's get started. So, as you can see, title ديال هاد البرزنتاسيون is all about retrieval, augmented generation, and knowledge graphs. We'll go from the basic fundamentals, and step by step we'll implement like production grade pipelines, production grade systems. So the planning is as follows. First, we'll start with what is a knowledge graph. Then we'll go into the retrieval system, the ingestion system, and then we'll, sorry, I'd like to, I should say retrieval augmented generation. What is retrieval augmented generation? Then we'll start with the basics, and then we'll go into more advanced stuff, and then we'll talk a bit about knowledge graphs, and then we'll talk about the evaluation of those LLM-based applications. So without further ado, غنبداو دابا. So first, let's start with the basics. So just to make sure that we are all on the same wavelength, let's define what is a knowledge graph. What's the retrieval augmented generation? So a RAG system is basically a system where we do provide context to a large language model. Now, this context can be from any knowledge base, but typically it's from a vector database. So we get the context from the vector database, and we provide it to the large language model so that we give an answer to the user. So the typical workflow is as follows. You get the query, you give it to an embedding model, you get the embedding, which is a vector that stores the semantic meaning of a sentence, or in that case, it's the user query. And then we fetch the most similar documents from the vector DB, and we combine those retrieved documents with the query and give it to the large language models. And thus, the large language models could give us a response. So just as a terminology alert, a vector database is a database where we store embeddings, which are vectors, and they are very good at doing similarity search. This is what makes them different from other databases. So this is for the global overview of the flow in a RAG system. Now, why do we need RAG? So there are a few reasons. First, to avoid hallucinations and inaccuracies in LLMs. As you know, LLMs, they are just predicting the next token, so we cannot rely on them to get factual things. Second thing is so that LLMs stay up to date, because LLMs have been pre-trained and their training data is for a certain maximum date. So we need to complement this with the new data, and this is where RAG comes to play. And also there is the domain-specific knowledge, and then there is the cost and efficiency. Now, knowledge graph has been like the talk of the town in 2024, but like now it's the age of agents. But let me tell you, the RAG. Sorry, I'm still confusing between knowledge graph and RAG, but when I see knowledge graph, I mean here RAG. It's just that I don't know what happens, but I'm confusing between the two now. But RAG is not dead. Because شي وحدين فيكم يقدروا يكونوا سمعوا بجيميناي, it has a large context window, so you can just feed it the whole document and then you get an answer. But in practice, this doesn't work, because first, it's expensive. The more token you give to a large language model, the more expensive it becomes, and the slower it gets. This is for one, and for two, time and cost. The second thing is that actually LLMs are still not that good with large data. If you give them a 100-page or a 200-page PDF, that could work. But imagine if you are working with a company with thousands of PDF. That doesn't work, and that won't scale. So this is an introduction. Now let's go step by step and try to build our retrieval augmented generation little by little. Now I think I'm no longer making the confusion between RAG and knowledge graphs, but yeah, let's get started. So this is the architecture. As you can see, there is a retrieval part, basically retrieving the data from our knowledge base. Typically, it's a vector database. And there is an ingestion part, ingesting the data into the knowledge base. Now, there could be multiple sources. ممكن تكون الويب, you crawl websites. ممكن تكون PDF documents، ممكن تكون any other data source, warehouse, etc. So this is the ingestion pipeline, and as I said, we have the retrieval pipeline. كما قلت, the knowledge base, it's typically a vector database, but it doesn't have to. It can be a knowledge graph. We'll talk about this. It can be web search. This is online. You mean you don't have an ingestion like prior. This is what Perplexity, for example, does. They do the search online, and it can be an SQL database. It can be a NoSQL database. It depends. But my point here is that it's more generic than just a vector DB. So في هذا التوك غنتفوكاليزاو على هاد لي two systems, the ingestion and the retrieval system, because we tend to focus more on the LLM part, but in reality it's not really the most critical one. Actually, if you have a very small LLM, it can do a good job if you have a good retrieval and ingestion system. Now let's start with the ingestion part. Well, here the ingestion part varies from use case to another use case. It depends on your data source. It depends on your target knowledge base. But here, for the sake of simplicity, let's imagine we have companies' websites, and we want to get data from there and ingest it into the vector DB. And the typical workflow would be as follows. First, we have an asynchronous crawler that would crawl the company's website. Then we get the raw HTML. Then it goes into a website enricher where we clean this HTML, parse it, and then chunk it. And what I mean by chunking is basically taking this big document and splitting it into segments. Now we have different chunking strategies, but I think I don't have a lot of time to dive into them. But yeah, the output of these steps is that we get multiple chunks, and those chunks we feed them to the embedding model. And once we get to those embeddings, كنصيفطوهم الvector database. This is an example for a website. Now, as I said, ingestion pipeline, there's no one-size-fits-all solution. It varies. For example, some of those steps would be encapsulated in one step. There are some tools that could help with this. And in addition to this, this is another example with PDF documents. It's a bit different, but it's plus or moins the same workflow. We have the PDF parsing. This is the most challenging one because PDFs, it depends. Some PDFs contains tables, other PDF contains graphs, images. So this is a bit challenging part, and there are a lot of tools that could help with this. It depends on your on your resources, like the latency requirements, the scalability of the pipeline, like the number of PDFs, etc. Then we have the chunker, and then we have the embedding model, and then we embed things into the vector database. So this is an example of an ingestion pipeline. Now, you can notice that here I put the icon of worker here, and the reason why I do this is that the ingestion pipeline, because most often than not, we want it to be scalable and we want it to be as fast as possible. That's why typically we parallelize the process using multiple processes, multiple threads, or in an asynchronous manner, just to make things fast and scalable as much as possible. So this is all about the ingestion pipeline. Now we'll talk about the retrieval pipeline of RAG. RAG, yeah, is a retrieval augmented generation. The retrieval pipeline, there are, just like ingestion, we have different methodologies, different approaches. The first one is semantic retrieval. Basically, we get a query and we try to look for the most similar documents to that query. And the process is as follows. You get the query, you do the embedding, and then you do the similarity search using the vector database, and then you retrieve the most similar documents, and thus we have a relevant context. So now, this semantic retrieval, we don't have to only get the chunks. We can get the surrounding chunks to make the context more rich. We can get other metadata, like which page of the document, what is the document file path. Those are things that could help like in subsequent steps. But if you would like to do this, this assumes that you've done it in the ingestion part. So this is just a small notice I'd like to add. So the next approach or the next methodology is using keyword search. Now, semantic search is good. Like it captures contextual, like it has some contextual awareness of the query, and if we could say it have some understanding of the query. So if you ask it about what are the reasons about why OpenAI took over the AI world. Now it's no longer taking over it, but yeah, back in 2023, why it worked? Why did this happen? السيمانتك retrieval غاي capture the documents where we don't have like exact match, but they are semantically relevant to the query. In most cases, this is fine. ولكن كاين شي حالات where we would like to get exact match. For example, you want your query is about a specific date, a specific city, or a specific name. And here, sometimes the semantic retrieval can miss the most relevant documents. حيت في هذه الحالة انت كتبغي exact match. And in that case, this is where we use keyword search. So basically, you get a query, and then you extract the keywords, and then you do a lookup in an inverted index. So those inverted index, you make a, for example, one that we use in our startup هو elastic index. There are other indices, but in our case we use elastic index, and yeah, it basically allows you to look for keywords in a fast, in a much quicker way compared to semantic search. Then there is a relevance and scoring algorithm, and then you get the relevant context. So usually it's ماشي كتاخذ سيمانتيك وكتخلي الكيورد سيرش ولا كتاخذ الكيورد سيرش وكتخلي السيمانتيك. Most of the time you combine them both. This is what we call a hybrid search, so that you can get the best of both worlds. دابا ندوزو للسلايد الجاي. دابا هضرنا على semantic search, keyword search, etc. Now I'd like to talk a bit more about knowledge graphs. First, let's define what is our knowledge graph, because I imagine some of you are not familiar with that concept. So basically, a knowledge graph is a structured way to represent unstructured data. Here, when I say unstructured data, I mean text. So it takes that text, that piece of text, and organize it into nodes or entities. We call them also entities, and relationships. This is an example of a knowledge graph. As you can see, there are multiple nodes, and there are edges that are connecting those nodes. We call them edges or relationships. So as you can see, it's as I said, it's a structured way of representing an unstructured data like text. So knowledge graph has a lot of potential when it comes to retrieval augmented generation. And when I say this, I think the best way is to look for an example. We have this example where we have a set of 4 documents that contains details about why did any of the former OpenAI employees start their company. So if we ask this question, the answer lies into multiple documents. First, the question can be broken down into multiple sub-questions, and if you would like to answer it, you have to use multiple documents. This is what we call multi-hop questions, and this is where knowledge graphs comes to play. They are really good at inferential reasoning, and what I mean by inferential reasoning is this: like those multi-hop questions, those questions that require first breaking down into sub-questions and or looking for multiple documents to get an answer. As I said, this is an example. Why did any of the former OpenAI employees start their own company? Here you can see some of the employees, like the current founder of the Anthropic, his sister, etc. This question is like the answer to this question is in multiple documents, and also it requires some reasoning. This is what I mean by inferential reasoning. If we want to answer this question using if we want to answer this question using semantic search alone, the semantic search might miss some documents. Retrieve some documents, but others it can miss them. But if we go with the knowledge graph approach, first what we need to take that text and transform it into a knowledge graph. And if we transform it into a knowledge graph, as you can see here, we have OpenAI, and there's a relationship between Dario and Dariela that they worked at OpenAI, and they have a relationship with Anthropic that they founded Anthropic. So with knowledge graph, answering that question is actually basic. You will just look for people, here Dario and his sister, that has a worked relationship with OpenAI, and that has a founded relationship with any other company. And it's basically a simple query. So I think this is, yeah. I think the sharing is the rendering of the presentation. It's not like on my PC. I see some titles are overlapping, but I hope it's okay. Sorry for this inconvenience. دابا ملي هضرنا على why knowledge graph can enhance retrieval augmented generation, let's now talk about how can we ingest data into that knowledge graph. We typically ingest them in a graph database like Neo4j, and the process is as follows. First, you have a co-reference resolution. Imagine you have a text. It has some entities, names, people, organizations. Those entities can have their own name, but they can have pronouns, etc. So this co-reference resolution is that, just to know that if we use a pronoun, that it refers to that person or to that organization. Then we have an entity recognition step, where we identify that this is a person, this is an organization, this is a country, etc. Then there's the entity disambiguation. Some entities might have the same name, but it's totally different things. There's Apple, the big tech company, and there's Apple, the fruit. So this is what we mean by entity disambiguation. And then we have relationship detection. Once we've done this, we ingest those nodes and the relationship into the graph database. Then there is the retrieval from the graph database. So here it's a bit slightly different from keyword search and semantic search. But I think it's worth talking about it for a moment. We have a query. We have two ways. Either we go with Cypher query. Cypher is a way to interact with the graph database. We have SQL to interact with SQL database. And we have, for example, any other Korean language to interact with the corresponding database. And for graph database, we have what we call Cypher. So in order to do the retrieval, we have one step. We have one possible way is to use Cypher. We get the query from the user, and then we use an LLM to transform that user query into a Cypher query. And then we execute that query, like interacting with the knowledge graph. And then we return the matching nodes and the relationships. This is one way. The second way is to, like more of a traditional way, is to do entity identification. For example, if we go back to that example, did any of the former OpenAI employees start their own company? The entities here are clear. It's OpenAI, only one entity. So here in the retrieval step, we would retrieve entities, and then we'd search for those entities in the graph, and then we'd retrieve nearby subgraphs. And here, what I mean by nearby subgraph is here in that example, we'd retrieve those people, Dario, Daniela, and we'd retrieve like they're also nearby companies. So this is it for the two ways. We can combine them both and then combine the resulting documents or combine the results to get the relevant context. So هنا شفنا تقريبا three ways. We have semantic search, keyword search, and now we have graph search. And we can combine them all together in one retrieval pipeline, just as like this. You have the semantic part, you have the keyword search part, and we have the graph search part. But غيجوك لي دوكيومون من les trois systèmes. So you have to first to combine and merge everything, but you have also to re-rank them. So that's why we typically have a re-ranking layer, a fusion and re-ranking layer, and then we provide the final context. So this is like a global overview of like retrieval systems. Some retrieval system might only contain one layer, like the semantic layer. Some others might contain 2, 3, etc., etc. So just to so that I make sure ما ندوس على الوقت. دابا هضرنا على knowledge graph, how it's enhancing RAG. One final step is RAG evaluation and LLM observability. في les projets ديال RAG, RAG based or in general AI based applications, often this evaluation part is so underrated, and something works for you, but you show it to a customer or like to a colleague, it doesn't work, or it doesn't work as good as you expected it to be. So RAG evaluation is very, very important, and you'd better like fix it yourself, your clients or your customers will complain to you. So there are multiple ways to evaluate a RAG system. As we saw now, like a RAG, it's composed of ingestion part, retrieval part, generation part, and like it's like there are many knobs to tune. So that's why it's a bit complicated. Here we'll focus on the generation and retrieval part. Here when I mean the generation, I mean the LLM itself. And we have two metrics. It could be other metrics because it's very flexible. The landscape is still new. First we have faithfulness, like how factual is the answer of the LLM. And then we have the answer relevancy. An answer could be relevant, but it could be wrong or not factual. And an answer could be factual, but it's completely irrelevant to the query of the user. So those are two metrics that we typically pay attention to. And in the retrieval part, you have the context precision. Basically, if we get something from our knowledge base, is it really relevant to the user query or not? How much of it is relevant to the user query? And there's the context recall. And this means, did we get all the relevant documents or not? So there's a trade-off between the two. I think if you are familiar a bit with the precision to recall, we also have it in machine learning. It's the same thing here. So this is for LLM, for RAG evaluation. But in addition to this, we typically have also observability. When you work with those systems that contains multiple steps, when a part is not functioning right or is broken, you'd like to know which part is not working. And in a production system, we typically use observability tools like Langsmith, Langfuse. There are many others. And the reason why we need them is to monitor the system. First, to check what are the prompts that our system received, the prompts that the system generated, the tracing, like the execution view, as you can see in the image. Here are the multiple steps, the latency and usage monitoring, the evaluation. Now, some of those platforms, Langsmith and Langfuse, now they start to have those evaluation parts, and then just retrieval analysis. هاد البارتي ديال الobservability it's quite new. Like it's been now a year since we have those platforms, but it's still up and growing. So we have always newcomers. It's the landscape changes like it's not stable, but like the typical or some of the most common tools, as I said, are Langsmith and Langfuse. So I think that's it. And sorry for the inconvenience regarding the slides, and I was a bit confused in the beginning, but yeah, thank you very much.
يعني مرحبا أوان
Yes. Yes, thank you, Sufyan. Thank you a lot for your about the wonderful and short speech. Sorry. So I think we have some question here.
Yes.
This one from you. Any recommendations for the construction of knowledge graph from raw data and in known AI models for automatically construction the DB, known for their accuracy and error tolerance?
Yeah, okay. That's a good question. It actually depends on the scale of the problem. Now, Sarah has met مع LLMs. I've just talked about like the ingestion pipeline in a knowledge graph. There is the entities identification, entity disambiguation, relationship disambiguation. البارتي كاملة an LLM can do it. But the problem with LLMs is that it's first scale and cost and latency. So if it depends on the size of the project. If it's a small scale project, I would say like the go-to solution is using an LLM, giving context about your ontology, like what are the types of entities that you are expecting, and then the LLM normally it has very good reasoning capabilities. It would normally generate those entities and nodes. If the scalar is much larger, for example, in our case at Alpha 10x, we cannot use LLMs to generate the knowledge graph. So for entities and notification and relationship identifications, we use NER models, named entity recognition models. So this is those are the models that we use, and of course it's a much longer pipeline. But yeah, just to answer the question in brief.
We have another one from Ayub. The last one, yeah, the last one.
When constructing graph RAG, do we have to actually store all the relationships? Actually, we do have to have the relationships. Otherwise, it won't be a knowledge graph, because an important part is also the relationship between the nodes. Because if you only have the nodes, they can be with additional metadata. But if you only have the nodes, well, like the reasoning is through the relationships. As like in the example that I showed, the OpenAI former employees, there is a relationship between them. If we don't have that relationship, well, like the meaning is lost, and like instead of having a knowledge graph, we would have like a text database.
Yes, so I think Hussam Turkey, he's a good friend of us. He was with us in the first edition of Data Tour last year. He answered Ayub to you that Microsoft is currently developing Graph RAG. I highlight also the repo in GitHub about the Graph RAG. Maybe one day we're gonna host Hussam. By the way, as I said, he's from Tunisia, and he work in something related to Wikidata, SparkQL, and something like that, GeoJSON. So I think that the Wikidata services is so good to start with, especially the SparkQL. And also, I remember of this Graph RAG since I am so interested in AI, generative AI, and machine learning, and everything related to that. I share in my LinkedIn like every day the new trend, the news, the updates about the field. And I think it was 6 months ago Microsoft published and open sourced this project. Yeah, you can answer.
Yeah, definitely. You're right. I've already answered that.
Yeah.
Any other questions?
Yeah, I think it's okay for that. Thank you again, Sufyan. I think we're gonna switch to Mehdi now, and maybe we can see you later in name day talks with a hands-on project, something practical.
Inshallah.
Yeah.
Inshallah.
Inshallah.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you. شكرا
Thank you for accepting our invitation, inshallah, for the next talk and the next events.
Thank you. Looking forward to it.
Mehdi, are you with us?
Yes. Now it's good. The presentation.
Yeah, you have access for the diapo to switch it and everything, no?
Yes. Yes. I think now it's presentation is.
Okay.
Can see it.
Okay. Now?
Okay.
Yeah, good. Go ahead.
Okay. Hello guys. I apologize for the technical.
Mehdi, wait please, 1 minute. So
Okay.
guys, راه قدينا the form, the survey. Please help us سنابي داكشي اللي ناقص. كاين اللي شافوا في لو شات، كاين اللي ما شافوش. So هو هذا the last link please. And about other people اللي عمروا لوط ولا اللي عمروا فيما، نتمنى لكم عمروا فيما because لوط ما كانش فيه فول نيم. ان شاء الله غادي نديروا واحد الداتا كلينين وغادي نجمعوا لي زيميل كاملين ونشوفوا الفول نيم، نمابيو الفول نيم مع الايميلز. وتا اللي ما كانش عنده الايميلز ميبي كاع الا ما لقيناش كاع في الريكورد ديالنا في اليوم we gonna text you in the couple next days maybe في الاول ديال لا سيمين. وابار سا ميبي Monday غادي نلقاو something related to that in our WhatsApp groups. We're gonna share with you our WhatsApp groups باش كلشي يبقى سونطري في هذا، حيت ما عندها حتى شي معنى. قلنا لكم غادي تاخذوا السيرتيفيكيت ونوقعوا في شي خطا ان شاء الله. اللي عمر شي حاجه غادي باش تاخذوا لي سيرتيفيكيت. ثانك يو. يس جو اهيد.
Hello guys, thank you for the warm introduction. I apologize for the technical issues. Assalamu alaikum and good evening everyone. A bit of background about me. I'm Mehdi Limani. I'm an AI engineer specialized in multi-agent systems. It's currently about completing my master in artificial intelligence at UTBM in France, following previous study in mathematics and computer science in Morocco. Before the dive into modern AI agents, we can talk about can a computer talk like a human? It's 1950 Alan Turing published his seminal paper, Computer, Machine and Intelligence, where he posed the question, can machine think? هادشي دابا اللي نقدر نقولوا بانه هو داك الفوندامونتال ديال الانتليجنس ارتيفيشال ولا اي اي ايجنت حتى لدابا. 70 years we moved by simply asking today the question is whether AI system can autonomously previous their environment about complex problem and take actions. In another words, can they think, plan and execute like human. نقدر نقولوا بان هذيك كانت هي الفرونتير will be exploring today. نقدر نقول بان الاكسبريس التورين تيست اللي بدات من الحرب العالميه الثانيه كانت في الانكودين ديال الماشين انيغما. So before I want to share with you leading AI visual agent is analyzed and understanding visual content. We know to one of you, we know the computer vision is the complex task for AI using the computer vision model like CNN or Vision Transformer. Now we can use tools with visual agent. I give you a prompt. It's a video to splice a video into a clip of 5 seconds and find the clip where the goal is begin scored. So the problem is the video is it's not short. It's for 1 minute, and we can see now. Wait. Now كيبان بأن كيلقى الفريمز ديال scoring using computer vision model. Yes, exactly. When the via understand temporal sequence and the concept such as scoring goal, like a relation between problems that the computer vision is have the relationship between players and the ball and the goal posts. So the presentation overview can understand what autonomous AI agent, core of components of agent, and the four agentic design patterns, cognitive architecture, and the current capability and limitation, and the future direction. My goal is to make this concept accessible with whether you are in AI specialist or just curious about the field. So to understand what AI agent, you should understand what no agent AI. No agentic AI, it's follow linear workflow like input and output. It's not like a circle of something simple like traditional image or just classify that images and output label. ما كيكونش واحد زعما ان عربي ما كيكونش واحد الدوره ديال زعما ديال التكرار وديال التصحيح. يعني انفو كتعطي تسمى زيرو شوت برومبتين كيكون تياخذ وان انبوت اند باش يعطينا في الاخر واحد الاوتبوت. For the agentic workflow, this is where it gets more interesting. It's a circular interview process that system generates an output, evaluate and refine multiple cycle. It's similar how human work, like يعني ما كيعطيكش كلشي في دقه واحده، كيكون واحد cycle واحد release and refine think multiple time. Après كتجي the next level is autonomous agent. This agents take a step further independently. يعني ما كيكونش كاع كيحتاج واحد التوجيه كل مره ديال شي واحد. just فهمتي كتعطي ديك التولز اللي خصك يخدم بها و they are forming their own sub goals and decide on the strategy and needed to achieve the main objective. Technically speaking, autonomous agents combine large language model LLMs with the planning algorithm and tool using capability يعني كيكون هاد help with reasoning and understanding natural language. The core components of an agent is fundamental built-in blocks of AI agents to understand how AI agents work. خصنا نعرفوا زعما ثلاثه ديال المكونات اللي الاساسيه ديالو that enable them operation independently. يعني تيكون كل واحد تيخدم راسو ومن بعد كتكون واحد لاير اللي كتجمع بيناتهم. At the core of any AI agent is the model which acts as the brain. It processes information, generates response and make decision. But ماشي أي موديل نقدروا نستعملو. Must follow a reasoning framework like React or chain of stuff or tree of stuff. It's to think logically and make a smart choice. For better performance, that model should be trained on the data that would understand the formal and context information. Après كيكون تكون tools for me يعني واغلبيه السبيشاليست ايجنت يقول بان التولز هي اللي كتعطي داك الفرق ما بين الاي اي نورمال والاي اي ايجنت، حيت هنا كيكون عنده واحد الاكسترنال اكسس للسيستم. سو ما كيبقاوش معزولين على العالم لايك تشات جي بي تي اور كلود. فهمتي يعني كيعطيك واحد answers depend the data. Par contre, les AI agents they need tools to interact with external system. يعني هنا فاش كيستعملوا extension like the connection of agent to API ولا كيسملو functions. They are small scripts that allow that agent to execute specific action. بحال يعني يقدروا يصيفطوا يعني دي زيميل، ولا يقدروا يشوفوا مثلا يشوف مثلا درجة الحرارة، يشوف الطقس، وعاد يكون عندك الداتا ستور، فهمتي؟ يعني المعلومات اللي دابا مثلا المشكل ديال الاي اي كاملين شي مرات كيمشي زعما داك الكونتكست. يعني فاش كتكون عندك واحد الداتا ستور they provide update information, so agent isn't limited to the data. يعني الداتا اللي ترينا عليها ما كيكونش ليميتي لها. وكتكون عندنا اخر حاجه هي orchestration management, how agents process information and reason to decide actions. يعني هنا اللاير كتكون كيبقى خدام حتى كيكون عنده حتى كيوصل داك الجول ديالو. it's the three component AI agent اللي يعني نقدروا نقولوا هما ال core component of any AI agent. يعني هذا هو واحد البارتي ديال الكود اللي كيخدمنا the language model that acts the central decision maker capable and instruction based reasoning, the tools with the language chain. So that we can see the cognitive architecture, how agents think. Now that we understand the core components of AI agent, let's explore how cognitive architecture function as the brain of the agent. شي كيمشي في structure اللي كتخلي الايجنت ما كيخدمش بغير processing ديال الانفورميشن، باش كيدير reasoning، كيخدم decision، وكيقدر refine actions ديالو، يعني circular or can say iterative، باش هكا تيوصل للوبجيكتيف ديالو. At the heart of any cognitive architecture is this circular process في الكونتراست مع السوفتوير اللي كيكون عنده execution path agent، وعاد كيكون واحد continuous loop. The cycle beginning when the agent receive input action, after that execute the action and perceive result. هادشي كيبقى يكمل حتى يعني كما قلت لكم حتى كيوصل لواحد الاوبجيكتيف ديال like يعني one decision, one action with the cycle process. The orchestration layer serve central coordinate of the process. اللي يعني نقدر نقولوا بان both short term context و long knowledge كيمشي track current stage by stage. après تيجي البلانين اللي نقدر نقولوا one of the most critical aspect of cognitive architecture is the employ the framework guide how the agent think problems and have the decision. React or we can say reason and act is a framework. You can see now is a framework alternative between reasoning about the current situation and taking action. Chain of thought encourage the agent break down and complex task. But tree of thought extend chain of thought، يعني واحد الاكستنسيون منها exploring multiple reasoning path simulation and evolutionary approach. Now we can pass to the four agentic design pattern. Framework of the four fundamental design patterns that form the building blocks of modern AI. The first is the reflection pattern, enable an agent to evaluate and improve its own work. يعني كيفاش كيكون داك الدياغرام ديال الايجنت generate initial content that analyze before refine. يعني كيبقى مع كيفاش الهيومن كيعطي داك الانبوت ديالو، كيقدروا يريفيزيو يعني يكون واحد ريفيزيون تكنيكال. This is often implemented using chain of thought. Après كيكون عندنا the tool use pattern extend and agent capability bind the text generative يعني باش نبسط يعني كيكون عندك واحد هادشي كيبان في الدياغرام يعني كيكون multiple specialization tools that agent for example can give it a search query and access to gather information from external source, typically using API or data. So the planning pattern help agent tackle complex goals by breaking them down into manageable steps. كيفاش يعني كيكون داك plain tasks, generate them and execute them and can replay if ended. يعني ديك decompose الالغوريثم كيمشي one by one. Après the current capability and limitation, processing vast information system ديال اللي كيدير يعني كيقدر يمشي حتى الافيشن فيكتور سيرش الجوريثم لايك يعني مثلا فيس ولا كروما دي بي ولا يعني كاع الفيكتور داتابيز اللي معروفين. يعني ابخي تيدوز التاسك كونفرسيشن ايجنت ديالي يعني كيكون واحد الكوريري ديال الكاستمر اللي تقدر تعطيه الاوتبوت اللي بغيتي ولا الانبوت اللي بغيتي. Making decisions with multiple criteria, dispute contracts with practical contrasts. The system excel by complaining human experience, not replacing it just for human AI teams. Current limitation is abstract reasoning and social and cultural understanding. It's for like for example agent كيخص يكون عنده يعني واحد سترايك باش يحافظ على الكلتشر مايندرسين، حيت اي موديل يعني فشي مرات يعني كيتسمى يعني كيما عارفين اما تيطرا ليه هالوسينيشن ولا كيبدا انه ما كيكونش عنده واحد الكالتشر نانوس. يعني داكشي علاش اصلا زعما كيدار الفاين تيونينغ لكل زعما كاع لي زونتربريز فاش كتجي تخدم شي موديل كدير ليه الفاين تيونينغ فور سيف شي لاير. وعاد كيجي عندنا الماناجين ايجنت هنا كنقدروا نديروا ديسيجن مع الانكمبلوت اور كونتراديكتور داتا. ابخي كتجي عندنا المودرن نورال مودلز هنا بزاف كيقدروا انهم يقولوا بان الريزنين تراست بات يعني كيكون ديما مزيان، ولكن شي مرات كيكونوا تكون واحد الابروكسيميشن ما كتكونش ترو اكسبلانيشن. نقدروا نقولوا هنا الفيتشر دايركشن يعني ماشي موديل ايجنت غادي يخدموا لايك مونس with the text image audio مع الفيزيكال وورد and robotic system like GPT-4 and Gemini and making side which future agents more modality هكا زعما غادي تكون عندك واحد الاركيتكتشر اللي كيقدروا انه يكون عندك واحد الاكزيكيوت والبلين اند ريزنين هيلبر فور روتين تاسك. يعني مثلا تقدروا كامل تجربوا مانيس ولا اي ايجنت غتلقاو بان كاين واحد الاكسبلوريشن elements the challenge now the problem is developing effective interface يعني واحد الكولابوريشن اللي كيحتاجوا سيستم يعرفوا منين كيبدا. فور اكزامبل مثلا انا فاش اول مره خدمت في مانيس يعني شي مرات يعني شي مرات كيكون عنده واحد يعني في ديك الجينيراليزاسيون ديالو كتكون عنده واحد سبيسيس ايجنت. with the conclusion we can say the autonomous AI agent represents significant advanced in our ability to autonomous complex tasks. We augmented human capability by combining powerful language model with specialization tools frameworks like Grow AI يعني Grow AI واحد الفريمورك اللي تقدر انك تبني فيها multi agents يعني with language chain. We can create a system capable of thinking, planning, and action in complex tasks. The four design pattern we discuss, reflection tools, and multiple agents collaboration for powerful toolkits for building this system. And thank you so much for the attention. I'm happy to take any question of few of you may have. Thank you.
شكرا مهدي. شكرا بزاف. Alors, as you see, we have a lot of people say thanks. So exactement, الصراحة الستيلير des agents. That's it. I think معنا سفيان دابا. سفيان, are you with us? شكرا بزاف مهدي. مهدي maybe later نقدروا نديروا شي workshop about how to create an agent وشنو هما الفريم وركس اللي نقدروا نستعملوا سوا نو كود دراج اند دروب سوا كي سون ان بتي بو كود بحال ديال مايكروسوفت سيمنتيك كيرنل ولا لانك جراف لانك تشين كريو اي كاينين
or
بزاف
in HN. Yes,
Yeah,
so
كاينين
or
بزاف.
no code like in HN. It's also
the alternative of Meek.com. Yeah, for automatization. Of course. Yeah, why not? هادشي ولا بزاف وسورتو يعني سوا باش يعطينا لي ريبونس سوا باش يجينيري لنا لي فوتو سورتو في لي فوتو ولا بزاف ناس اغلبيه الناس يخدموا مثلا ب N8N ولا بلاخور ديال يو اي شي حاجه يو اي كوزي يو اي ثينك something like that المهم تيخدموا به بزاف وعندنا اوسي واحد شي حاجه يلاه خرجت هذه 3 جور ولا 3 سيمين اي ثينك ديال انتروبيك اللي سميتها الام سي بي موديل كونتكس بروتوكول ما عرفتش واش تعرفها ام سي بي الو يا ام سي بي سيرفرز يا شيماء از كتبت في الشات سو هذا الام سي بي هو زعما لايك تيدير لنا ستريم لاين ديال الانتجريشن ديال الاي اي اسيستنس وذ اكسترنال داتا سورسز وتيعطينا ديك الفيتشرز والكابابيليتيز ديال التولز ديال السيستم واللي هما بغاو يديروا واحد يستاندارديزيو الانترفاس to enable AI models to access and interact with diverse resources without the need for custom integration for each application. Ça veut dire ان انتروبيك شحال هذه وهي تدير لنا واحد اللعيبه انك سورتو تتخدم ماشي في انتروبيك ماشي في انتروبيك هي اللي دير لنا كلود ماشي في كلود فيرسيون براوزر ولكن كلود فيرسيون ديسكتوب ودابا خدمتنا بواحد البروتوكول اللي ايكيفالون تي سي بي اي بي باش تقدر تانتيغري الاي اي في اي ابليكاسيون بحال الا درت لنا وحدات لنا داكشي يعني بغات تربطوا واحد اليونيفرسال كونيكتور فهمتي البلان سو درتنا هاد لا فونكسيون تتسمى الام سي بي موديل كونتكست بروتوكول ما عرفتش واش تعرفوها سيروا قلبوا عليها سو ات واز اميزين anything to add خي مهدي قبل ما ندوزو للدكي الو مهدي مشى با سفيان واحد سفيان جوج سفيان فاس سفيان بن قرير
هذاك الشيء علاش ساكت على بالي تغلط بين سفيان ونجاوب غلط
لا سفيان ديالنا حتى سفيان التحيمي يولي ديالنا حتى هو يولي ديالنا يا تحيمي دخل معنا الام دي اس
اييه الله يحفظك شكرا على الانفيتاسيون
بيت في داكشي يا اوكي جود قاعد خي سفيان بارطاجي ليكرون
نبداو الجيم دابا كلشي واجد
اورايت كلشي واجد اي ثينك
اوكي تيم انا غادي تكون بارطاجيتها باتري تيم بارطاجيو معاك مزيان
وي شيماء اري ويز اس
نشونجيو
شيماء
Yes. You want me to guys to add?
ستابي تكلف سي بون يعني Did you change it? Okay, that's good. So sweet. Okay, let's go.
كيبان البريزونطاسيون ياك كتبان يمكن لكم تسكانيو بيان سور هذا اللي كيتسكانا الكو ار كود
اوكي
اللي دخل يدير جيم باش نعرفوه تكليكو من هنايا اللي ما عرفاش منين
اي ثينك لا بلاتي ما تنشوفوش ليكرون ديال تخيل كان
ما كتشوفوش؟
انا نحيد ديال شيما ما كانش دابا يس تسبان صافي انا نعاود ندير لهم اخر فرصه لو شحال عندنا نتمنى واحد 9 ذاتس صافي
9 لايك ميبي مور.
يا اوكي
الاسئله راه ساهلين هاد المره، يعني ما يدخلوا.
عرفت داك اللي تيزرفك يقول لك ساهلين.
تشكاو منا شي ناس قال لك صعبنا، دابا درناهم ساهلين.
اوكي ليتس جو
ليتس ستارت ياك.
اوكي ما عرفتش انا دخلت من التليفون مازال ما بداتش.
لا باقي ما بديت.
اوكي
اوكي مازالين في جوين اس. دونك كنبداو.
اوكي
20 بلاير 21.
ذاتس جود.
اييه primary reason for reinforcement learning ديجا كان شي كيسيون عليه في لي 2 زور دونك 9.
ايزي كويشن
اللي ما بغاش ياك.
الله يلا
قولوا ما ساهلينش ولا شي حاجه.
نشوف تبارك الله العلماء ديالنا.
الموديل باش يولي هيومن. اوكي ندوزو. راه كاين دي كيسيون هنايا اللي غيكونوا مبدلين على
اش اصلا اهم زعما من هود لي موديل اللي في الاي اي ايجنت هو رينفورسمنت ليرنينغ.
وي هو اللي كيخليه اصلا ممكن يكون.
كاين واحد الكتاب
ايوا المهم غنسكيبيو هذا باش ما نهضروش على النتائج. كاينه لا ديفيرونس ما بين جينيراتيف اي اي والاي اي ايجنتس. هذه باينه ياك باينه صافي. كوم توجور اللي كيجاوب الاول هو اللي كياخذ لي بوين اكثر. سؤال مهم هنايا الفرق ما بين الراج والفاين تونين. دوينا على الراج اليوم دونك تكون سهله. واش اليوزاج ديال الاكسترنال داتابيز. اوكي الفرق ما بين هادو غير على الراج تشانج ذا موديل ستراكشر. لا اللي كيشونجي الموديل ستراكشر هو الفاين تونين. لوبجيكتيف ديال الموفين او تو اجينيتيك ورك فلو هادي فيها 15 سكوند دونك كاين الوقت انك ما تفكرش. نايس اليوم كاين سسبانس مازال ما عرفناش شكون اللي عندهم بوان اكثر. الفويس بيزد انتراكشن
قلت ناكتيفي الميكرو باش نتفاعلوا معك شويه. انا غلطت في جوج
كنحس
بغيت
راسي كنهضر بوحدي كنساك تسحب لي الكونيكسيون.
لا بقيت تنبرك على ديك برافو. وهي دار الساي ماشي
انت الاسئله ساهلين، ها شتي
سالي
كلشي
والله إلا
كيجاوب.
سالي.
ونشوفوا شكون الاول. او
شكون الاول؟
اوكي، اس ما كايناش هاد النهار.
هي دراغونيت.
ما يمكنش. بي كيجاوب فاستر، داكشي علاش كيجيب لي بوين. لا هي شامي ماشي.
شامي
No,
ميبي.
no. I'm not
شكون؟
I'm not playing. I'm actually working on some stuff.
اوكي
So,
خاف نقوصوا عليها على جات هي الاولى عاوتاني.
وصلنا with challenges. انا جيت الاول مع العلم انني غلطت في جوج، والله الا غلطت في جوج، بقيت
انت
تنبرك
هو
على ديك.
الاول.
لا جيت ثاني دابا، راني الثاني.
خدم
بقيت
على راسك.
تنبرك على داك
لا وتا فاش كتكون
برافو.
كتانيمي معايا كتنسى.
تندوخ تنبقى نبرك على
اوكي
ديك برافو حتى
نشوفوا واش هو هذا. وي لا ماشي هذا. بيست ديسكرايب اوف
شنو ذا بيست. اوكي
كنتوقع انا 50% هما اللي جاوبوا صحيح على هذا.
صعيب شويه.
لا الا كان عندك الوقت تجاوب.
ياك سكر شويه.
ان في كنعنيو بها لونفيرونمون. تبارك الله.
اييه دوت
غنبقى ندير
انفي
5 سكوند. 10 بزاف.
يغشوا تيستعملوا شات جي بي تي.
innovative behind transformer models. هذه باينه. transformer models بحال اللي كنقولوا شات جي بي تي راه transformer model. retrain transformer. attention please.
شنو الريزلت؟
فوالا. لا attention is all we need. اوكي الريزولت. بهاء ديال ريمونتادا.
شكون الاول؟
بي ياك انت هو بي.
لا انا بهاء الدين.
اغلبوك.
ويلي شنو هادي؟
الجواب هي كلمه.
خصها تكتب مينيسكول ولا ماجيسكول؟
ماجيسكول.
مينيسكول واقيلا.
بحال لي دو.
داكور يلاه هضر عليها قبيله سفيان.
الشينا راه مع سفيان.
اوكي لا هضر عليها.
بقى فيا ادمون كراف راك ولكن دوماج.
الراك لا ماشي الراك كراف.
غنحاولوا نشوفوا الناس ديال الراك شي حاجه
صافي. هيك ما هي الجايه.
الله اعلم.
تقدر تكون هي الجايه.
The area for a system suddenly adapts its behavior to achieve dynamic goals. autonomous. دوينا عليها اليوم وماشي الراك.
لا باينه. هو لو تيتر ديال اليوم كامل اي شي حاجه.
ايجن. المهم عندنا
Yeah.
3 داروا نفس الحاجه، يعني راه مزيان هادشي.
لا
هادو
ديروا
مالين
كلمه.
الراك.
لا ديروا كلمه ما تبقاوش
الله
ديروا جوج
يهديهم.
كلمات.
reinforcement
اوكي
learning. بركه واقيلا ياك.
reinforcement learning هي على مود هاد لي.
ويل دون. كنت غندير تصويرتي باش ندير انا هو الوينر ونقول لكم، ولكن ما بقيتش كندير.
ماشي مشكل.
كنطلعوا الوينر الحقيقي.
خذوا لا سكرين بليز.
الوينر يتكونتاكتا مع ام دي اس يعطيوه الجائزه.
اوكي شنو هي الجائزه اخي سفيان؟
ويتكونتاكتا معنا ويكون خير، حنا راه خدامين عليها.
بزاف. انا غنصيفط لكم في واتساب. انا ما جبت انا وديك بيل عزيز عليا بيل. اوكي
بركه ياك.
شكرا بزاف. بركه.
نرجعوا لي سلايد. مين كيرجع؟
ما تيرجعش، تتحيد هذا، تدير بحال هكا. لا I think yes. شيماء
Yes, guys.
chain of stuff or
The
tree of stuff.
AI
It's to think logically and make smart choice. For better performance, that model should be trained.
Yes, Shema.
I think
Yes.
Mehdi is speaking in answering a question, I think.
Just I want to thank you guys for the invitation. Or it's honor for me. That's
You're welcome, Mehdi, anytime. And it's been honor for us all. Thank you, Sufyan. Thank you, Mr. Ali. Thank you, Ahmed, who was with us also. Thank you for every speaker who took from their time and joined us to help us share knowledge. We're so grateful.
Thank you very much as well. It's a pleasure.
شكرا خويا بزاف. تحياتي.
مرحبا مهدي. I think it's your first talk, I think.
Yeah, it's my first.
Yeah. ماشي مشكل. Peace. Ça fait plaisir. À France, plein d'opportunités. بالعكس, il faut toujours فهمتيني la prise d'initiative ou surtout tu partages داكشي اللي انت عزيز عليك comme ça تطلع وتدير نيتورك وتدير beaucoup de choses et surtout tu crées du contenu. Yeah. Ça fait plaisir خويا مهدي.
يا شانا شكرا بزاف خويا سفيان. شكرا.
Yeah.
تحياتي.
Yeah. Au plaisir. مال سفيان هبط. C'est bon. Shema, do you want?
Yeah, sure. So we are so grateful for the team who was with us, MDS Talks teams. Guys, without you, we couldn't do it. We always say it. Thank you so much, Honorable Khafir, our leader of MDS Talks. Aya Assal, Abdulzak Fahli, Aya Hali, Uthman Nasiri, Omar Abu Ali, Uthman bin Nani, Hiba Baydun, Tajuddin Burhim, Tnani Muhsin, bin Aziz Hanan, Sufyan Sijari, et Osama Wadaya. Thank you, guys. This AI in Data Conf was, I think, successful. We can say Baha, isn't it?
What is it?
It was successful. It was a success. Inshallah, more events to come. And we are learning a lot. So bear with us, guys. We're taking notes and we're trying to improve each time, inshallah. Next time, I'm sure it's going to be better than this one. So stay tuned to join us, inshallah. And of course, thank you to our president, Bahadin Halim. And take the word, Bahadin. You can.
Yes, my word. شحال من نهار باش بريبارينا هذا الايفنت؟
It's crazy to say, but it's only 7 days. We only had 7 days to prepare. So it's kind of stressful, especially that we all have like jobs and some of us are students. So yeah, it was quite the journey in
Yeah. And it was successful, alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah, yeah.
It was good. لي لايف البارح ودول البارح داروا 1000 فيو. منين يلا ساليناهم كانوا لايك 600 واحد شافهم اون طون ريال. واللي مهتم انا ما تهمنيش الارقام، انا تهمني لا كاليتي ماشي لا كونتيتي. ليسونسيال اننا تنبارطاجيو داكشي اللي عزيز علينا. كما تقولي ديما شيماء تقول لهم بهاء تيقول زكاة العلم نشروه اتس ترو، العمل عباده. وحنا عزيز علينا الاي اي اند داتا ساينس، عزيز علينا وكرينا لا كوميونيتي وحنا غاديين وكاينين بزاف لي زينيسياتيف ان شاء الله جايين في الطريق. اند يس معروفه هذه، الا بغيتي تاكسلي في واحد لو دومين خصك تقريه، خصك تبارطاجيه، خصك تكري الايفنت فيه. C'est promouvoir la data science et l'intelligence artificielle au Maroc. Du coup, that's it. I think someone from the chat تيسول على the link to join the closed WhatsApp group. I think it's time نحلوه. Voilà. احنا حليناه. هاي هاي every لا hello world ها هو دابا it's open. هذا هو اللينك تو جوين اس. غنخليو الجروب ديما الجروب الاخراني غنخليوه مفتوح، الجروب الاول والثاني مسدود باش نديروه فور الانونسمنت. الجروب الثالث نخليوه محلول، منين يعمر الجروب الثالث عاوتاني نسدوه وندوزو للجروب الرابع. حنا غاديين سيل فو بلاي بارطاجيو اي حاجه عندها علاقه بالداتا ساينس بالاي اي، سولو بارطاجيو الخدمه ديالكم، لي بروجي اوبن سورس ديالكم. الا عندكم اي سؤال في لي سيونس دو دوني داتا اناليتيكس هادشي كامل جينيراتيف اي اي سولو. اي واحد كان ديسبو فروم ذا تيم غادي يعاونكم، اي واحد يقدر يسول يجاوب اكسيتيرا. ديروا دي ديبا كلشي ديالكم. au plaisir d'être parmi nous les 3 jours. وشكرا بزاف. je repasse la parole à Sheima pour clôturer هاد 3 ايام ديال الباكور كما قلت dernière fois. merci beaucoup وشكرا شيماء بزاف. thank you.
Yeah, guys, you're welcome. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you learned a lot. Inshallah, next time it's not gonna be Ramadan. We're gonna have plenty of time. Hopefully, we're gonna do some workshops. So, الناس اللي كيعجبهم workshops and they wanna do practice, مرحبا بكم إن شاء الله. Just join our LinkedIn. Please follow our Instagram page. We're gonna start posting a lot about new information, facts about data and AI to stay tuned and to stay aligned with the news of AI. Guys, also join our WhatsApp. It's gonna be shared in the chat. And thank you so much for being with us in these 3 days. Thank you. There is no see you tomorrow. See you tomorrow in the WhatsApp groups, in the LinkedIn, in the Instagram. We're gonna stay active, of course. But thank you for being here. Thank you for joining us in these 3 days. And bye. Assalamu alaikum fi amanillah.